Hope there's nobody out there.
Someone out there.
I've had stupid jobs before, but this shit...
Please just be quiet. It's bad enough I gotta be out here. It's dark, and I'm tired of shit. Mom, there's nothing here.
Stay sharp. Something about this detail gives me the creeps.
I demand my freedom.
You're in no position to demand anything, bub.
You have no authority to arrest me.
Tell that to Captain Savage.
We had intel on his entire operation from start to finish. I thought he'd just go back to whatever shithole he slithered out of.
Your intel was bullshit, chump. Your little broadcast led us right to you.
It serves you right for being so damn cocky.
Just like any other patrol.
Thanks for showing up, Sport. Listen, Savage is on his way here.
Yeah, Ito and I figured that out. Why's Savage gunning for you?
I broke the story that led to that rat bastard's downfall.
And he decided to have his revenge. Classic asshole move.
There's more to it, obviously. But the important thing is that I really tried to make a difference here.
Don't worry about it. He's not taking you or these outcasts. Let's get down to brass tacks. Come on. Follow me. Let's go. So, you really wrote the story about Savage?
Yeah. I suppose I owe you more of an explanation. I watched as Savage burn villages to the ground. He instigated a forced famine, set up labor camps, and even killed people from his own unit.
Man.
I tried to alert the local authorities, but they were on the take too. Savage's men were monitoring the signals in and out of the camp. So I had this clever little idea of smuggling a message out as a song. When Savage's superiors heard it, he got tried for war crimes and booted out of the military. It took him some time, but eventually he figured out I was behind it. That's the gist.
I can see why Ito thought you were a genius.
I wasn't smart enough to avoid Savage completely, so I'm not infallible.
Hey, none of us are.
Here they come.
You're super close there, sport. Just keep moving forward. Nice work today. There's no way I could have stopped Savage. Look, I know I can be pompous and a little abrasive, but if you need anything, anything at all, drop me a line.
You got it. Thank you. Everything okay?
Pretty much the goddamn opposite, Brute Squad. We've been ramping up our activity, stealing vehicles, looting. But we started getting sloppy. So, Sentinel started cracking down and rooting out our informants.
Is this about your source?
Don't call her that. She's got a... Her name is Dr. Sigrid Bloom. She's head of Aurora's hospital, and Sentinel arrested her this morning. I don't know what to do.
How exposed are we? How valuable is she to your operation?
I can't... We can't afford to lose her. Look, I call the shots around here, but Sigrid... People believe in her. And yes, if Sentinel gets her talking, there's gonna be no place for us to hide.
Any idea where they'd be holding her?
If I knew that, there would already be a rescue party on the way.
Well, who would know?
Captain Anton Gibson. He's Sentinel's bloodhound. The one in charge of hunting us down.
You don't worry. I'll get her back.
We've got a cell camped out near here. They'll be ready for her. She's not gonna be able to go back home. She's gonna be on the run, like the rest of us.
You think this was how things were gonna go when Sentinel came in?
Just give me a hot meal and point me towards the action.
So Project Deus. That sounds ominous. What can you tell me?
Look, I'd really prefer not to talk about it.
I get that you're not a fan, but why all this? A rebellion over a rich guy's pet project. It doesn't track.
What's there to track? Apparently, during their giant asshole convention, the meatheads at Skeltec came up with a way to cheat death. Project Deus is their elitist method of transferring the minds of the richest 0.1% into computers. It's not hard to figure out where that leaves the rest of us. So excuse me if I'm a little pissed off.
People have been trying to cheat the laws of nature since the beginning of time. It won't be them anyway, just some copy. Their bodies will still rot like the rest of ours.
But their brainwaves create a template. A basic template for artificial intelligence. Can you imagine a sentient AI modeled after some rich, pretentious, self-preservationist jackass? It makes me sick.
Fair enough.
It's in the name, Brute Squad. Project Deus isn't about cheating the god of death, it's about becoming him. For these people, it means absolute power. That's what the outcasts are fighting against.
You been alright since Madeira left? I realize. I never ask.
I knew Madeira was never gonna be a guerrilla fighter. I think I knew. But living like this, you start to need people. Not just depend on them. Would have been nice if she left on her own steam, though.
Whatever anger you've got is yours to own. All I did was tell Madeira the truth about Skell and the Outcast so she'd know what she was getting into. It's not my fault if she took issue with some of your choices. Your bunch have a lot of potential, Haruhi. But you can't take back what you've already done. You've just got to do better.
Fair enough.
Well, what do you say?
We'll keep working together for now, Brute Squad. While things are mutually beneficial.
Your people look like they're barely holding it together.
What, you mean these nerd farmers aren't ready for Brute Squad boot camp? It was hard enough turning these pocket-protecting 4-H'ers onto vandalism, but infiltration and sabotage? It's a goddamn miracle that we've survived this long. But we're not fooling ourselves. We know at the end of the day, we're just standing with our fingers in a dike.
Yeah, well, the tide's coming in. Surviving off the grid is one thing, but if you don't start punching above your weight, you're gonna get slaughtered. If you don't think your lot's up for that, best thing would be to scatter to the wind.
If not us, then who?
Let me ask you something. Why South Cape Station? Liberty's right next door, and it wouldn't take much for Sentinels to surround you and cut you off from everything.
It's rare that outcast cells stay put more than a few days. Nature of the beast, I guess. With this place, we were just looking for something more permanent, where we could stockpile supplies and safeguard assets. The landfill keeps away Sentinel and Skeller tourists from the capital. We're right near to our fields of operation and close enough to Sentinel that we won't show up on radar. As far as security is concerned, the creek does a decent job of keeping us hidden, and looking out at the cabins is a bonus.
How does Sentinel Corp take control of Aurora?
Skell hired them to deal with us initially once he realized that he had some resistance against transhumanism, his own private militia. They started making arrests, so a few of us went to ground and our sympathizers followed, thinking they'd leave us alone once we were outside of the cities.
But they didn't.
Stone got permission to operate outside Liberty and Infinity, and Skell let him set up shop in the Cold War installations to patrol the wild. Once they got there, they did just enough to keep us at bay, while using us as cover to bring in men and vehicles, which he hid from Skell in some underground bunkers, which of course are now called Camp Ferret and Camp Weasel.
Son of a bitch has a sense of humor.
We were watching the whole thing happen. And when they grew strong enough, they took over. They literally came up out of the ground. Skell had no idea what hit him.
Came across some soldiers in masks. Know anything about them?
Wolves. They're elite and they answer directly to Walker. We noticed them around after Sentinel Corp took over. My guess is they were hidden in one of the underground bases before then. They're bad news from what I can tell. But they mostly just run drills and ignore us altogether, so we do the same.
Where can I find them, if I were inclined?
Don't know why you would be, but they've got a few little fortresses around. Biggest one is Shark Base, an old US sub-base dug into a cliff on the south coast. Wolves keep a close eye on it, so nobody knows what's in there.
If I was looking for a fight, where should I go?
With Sentinel Corp, you that hard up?
Trigger finger needs its exercise.
Well, Sentinel patrols the city centers and industrial complexes pretty heavily, though there's always civilians around, so I'd keep away from those if you can help it. Then there's the settlements they built when they first got here, in the southwest and northeast, where they keep their reserve garrison and store resources.
That sounds like more fun than anybody should be allowed to have.
If you're looking for more of a skirmish, you could check out one of Aurora's many Cold War-era bunkers left courtesy of Uncle Sam. They also set up some transportable structures and took over some Skell architecture. Basically, if you see a green storage container-looking thing, Sentinel's probably nearby. Of course, if you don't feel like looking that hard, they patrol most of the island 24/7, so you could just pick a spot and wait.
I want to know about the bombing.
It was a mistake.
There was nothing strategic about the Skell Foundation. It was an office building. You weren't even at war yet, so why do it at all?
Attention? Skelltech completely ignored us when we tried to meet with them about transhumanism. We've been getting the runaround in Aurora's parliament, who were a bunch of Skelltech groupies anyway. There was no other way to get people to wake up about what was really happening.
Except the civilians out were in the building. Not doing much waking up, are they?
I get it, okay? We've been through this before. If there's something I can actually do about it, let me know. Till then, drop it.
Is it over? Or do you plan on playing terrorists some more?
We aren't terrorists. We were activists who went too far. Now I'm not sure what we are. But causing civilian casualties again would destroy whatever ethical glue is still holding us together.
How do the outcasts manage to sustain themselves out here?
Barely. None of us have the skills or equipment to farm or fish. Even if we did, it'd bring us a boatload of attention that we couldn't afford. Once in a while, a civilian will leave some food at a dead drop, but it's risky and never much. Best bet's always to steal from farms and raid Sentinel supplies, but of course they're protected. Then there's still the matter of getting the supplies out to as many cells as possible while avoiding detection.
Nobody thinks about food at first. That's why so many groups who call themselves revolutionaries end up as bandits. Even if you don't think it's possible now, you'll want to be careful you don't drift that way. I was out at Darkwood Island. Looked like Skell built a city and abandoned it. Unless he's planning to turn a row into a movie backlot, I can't quite figure out why he'd do something like that.
How else would he test the AI in his drones? The archipelago is chock full of dedicated training fields.
God damn it. The ones training there were combat models. Sentinel's building a whole damn army. Can you tell me why Sentinel's got a prison set up in the survival shelter complex?
Nope, never been. Never planned to either, but I've heard about it. Given Skell's vision, it doesn't seem too far-fetched. An illegal prison in a remote fortress, on top of a mountain, surrounded by ice and snow where no one in their right mind would go looking? No offense.
None taken. But the size of the place, it's insane. Looked like you could fit a row's whole population in there.
I can't see a scenario where Sentinel would use all the space, but clearly they were thinking big, which gives one pause.
Well, I retired Herzog, who was running the place, but I'm sure that's not gonna do anyone any good. We'll just have to see. Did you know anything about Madeira's husband being kept in the cryo chambers in eternity?
I knew he had ALS, of course, and how difficult it was for Paula when he went into a coma 5 years back. Hate to say it like this, but it seemed to me that Paula had moved on. I was surprised as shit when I heard he was still alive.
Even Skell's got his good points.
Hitler liked art.
Really? Hitler?
Skell was playing God. Just because he helped out a friend one time doesn't make him any less dangerous. Almost glad he never found a cure. He'd have had Madeira forever, not to mention something to sell for a fortune. You want to work with Skell? I can't stop you. But you'd better make sure you're using him and not the other way around.
I've dealt with a few snakes in my time. Skell's nothing special.
Whatever. You're gonna do what you want to do, so he's your problem. But don't let him become mine. If he ever compromises the outcasts, even you won't be able to protect him from me.
How do you manage to keep so many combat supplies for the rebellion?
Well, Sentinel keeps a close eye on frags, C4, and landmines, so they're an unholy bitch to get. Most of our explosives are homemade from flashbangs or diversion grenades we find hanging around security facilities. If you want the good stuff, you're gonna have to raid Sentinel outposts. With any luck, you might be able to find a stash in the Cold War installations, but even those tend to have a Sentinel infestation problem.
Well, in the past life, I was an exterminator. Any advice for fighting in World 2.0?
The name of the game is take out their drones faster than they can launch them. It's a bitch, but that's why we always carry jammers that'll shut off any live drone or vehicle happening by. At least for a while. Another option would be to make your peace with the devil and use sync-shot drones to take out specific targets.
Sync-shot drones?
They only target humans, though. They can't target drones. There's also a variation on the Legion drone, the ones in the drone swarm. They're like little flying guns that basically take aim in any direction and wait for a signal to execute their target.
Got any lying around?
No can do. We mostly leave those things alone. Kind of goes against what we're trying to be.
Sounds like just another weapon to me.
If you're inclined, you can get them hot out of the oven from Skell-Tech labs or assembly lines. Hell, even some startups might have them. And come to think of it, the Omega Center ought to have plenty.
See you later, Haruhi.
Not if I see you first, Brute Squad.
map. You should check that out.
That's all the intel I got! Stop hurting me!